Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Today, we're going to be taking a look at an interesting observation. Credit to Scarlett who pointed it out. She's been involved with the Kenny Veach mystery previously. But today, what we're looking at is Brenner. Following on from his recent court case, which I guess is still ongoing, information coming about his past history and stuff. Visually, we need to take a look at a piece of his clothing, preferably his baseball cap you see him wear in that photo. Why? Well, that baseball cap looks very similar to Dylan Rounds. Let's do a little comparison and I'll show you what I mean. So with Dylan's photos, he tends to wear similar style clothing, like an Under Armour branded hoodie and normally a baseball cap as you see in the photo. If we move on to the next slide, he appears to be wearing another baseball cap, different style and brand as well as colour. And then this is the one that stands out, that baseball cap, and just keep an eye out for it, okay? So we just move on to the next slide. Same baseball cap, it's kind of greyish and it's got a brand on. Can't quite make it out in this slide, but he's got his Under Armour hoodie on. And then we move on to this final one where he's in his overalls, his farming gear, he's got his boots on. And we just zoom in on his hat. Now, you might not be able to read it clearly, but that looks like John Deere. And we saw that previously in the TikTok video I did of Dylan's account because he used the hashtag John Deere, which was also seen on the tractor. If we just go back to this slide, Dylan in his green tractor, the one what we saw on his TikTok account, we zoom in, you can see it says John Deere. So just a little observation. But the main one, the big one, is once we move on to the next slide, you'll see James Brenner. You know, the way he's dressed, average, but it's his baseball cap. We zoom in, it almost looks identical. It's grey, it's got the circular badge and some writing in the middle. And although you can't quite make it out, it does look like John Deere. You can see a big D. Don't misinterpret that. What I will do is a side-by-side comparison, so it's easier to understand. So now with it being side-by-side, hopefully you can see the similarities between the two baseball caps. Same colour, same badge. Although it's not the clearest because of the contrast and the lighting, you know, they both are branded. That says John Deere and that one says John Deere too. So, what's the possibility that James Brenner is now wearing Dylan's baseball cap? And why has no one else picked up on it before? So there are two ways to interpret the situation. Number one, it is Dylan's baseball cap and now Brenner is wearing it. You've seen it with serial killers where they may kill someone and then take an item from the victim as a memento and collect a few different things over time. It could be clothing, it could be jewelry, anything. In this case, a baseball cap. Now, some of you may think, yeah, but surely Dylan's mum would pick up on Brenner wearing that cap. Well, first of all, it depends when, where and how he was wearing it. I don't know when that photo was took of Brenner, probably before court. I don't know if it was when he was appearing at court or just on a random occasion. So he may have not been wearing it at the time when Dylan's mum was present, so she wouldn't have picked up on it. But if he was wearing it, or if Dylan's mum has already seen that baseball cap, maybe she wouldn't think too much of it. If that baseball cap is like universal, easy to get a hold of, it's nothing personal or special, unique, it's not a one-off item. If it was a one-off item, like a personal wedding ring or necklace, it probably would be more noticeable because it's a one-off. It doesn't exist anywhere else. So if the mother saw Brenner wearing it, then she would know. With a baseball cap, you probably could get it from any farm shop. With it saying John Deere on the brand, that seems to be a farming brand of tractors and equipment. So they most likely do farming related, equipment and clothing. So it would make sense there. Now, the second viewpoint, The second way you can interpret it is it's just a coincidence that they are wearing the same type of cap and branded one. You know, that can be reinforced, I guess, with Brenner working with Dylan at a point in time on the farm. Maybe the clothing was distributed out and that was the default attire. Must wear baseball cap with John Deere written on and overalls as well. Maybe the dress code was fairly specific and that's what Dylan had in mind. You never know, and then Brenner may have kept that cap afterwards whilst he was squatting and doing other stuff in between. As said, there's two ways to interpret it. I mean, I don't know if he was aware of that photo being taken or he knew there would be press and media coverage of him taking photos. Maybe he did wear that cap to trigger a reaction, to intimidate, to play mind games with people. You know, you take a personal item off somebody and then you parade it around on you, but it's in such a way that maybe you can get away with it because, you know, you can get a hold of that clothing easily and you just, you know, replicating somebody. You know, it could mess with people and you might be doing it in manipulative reasons, you know, to get a response, to make people suffer. You don't know what type of mind games go on. Yes, we know him as being reckless and violent, but maybe a lot more goes on in here and he might plan certain things out. You never know. You can leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of Brenner, the baseball cap. Is it Dylan's or is it just a coincidence? Was it from the workplace? I mean, the only other way of maybe reinforcing the point that Brenner has stolen Dylan's hat would be to find Dylan, whether it be his remains or if they actually found Dylan alive, held captive wherever. And let's just say Dylan wasn't wearing his baseball cap, nowhere in sight, then maybe that could prove Brenner did steal it. But would that be significant? Like, is that the correct order in how it should follow? Maybe not, but it would be a way of proving that Brenner is tied with Dylan's disappearance at least, right? I mean, you could do DNA testing on the cap itself, like hair follicles or bits of stuff on the inside of the cap, but who's going to do that? You know, if they haven't done it with Dylan's boots, which is far more important, especially with the bloodstains on it, they haven't even bothered to do that. I don't think they've even done it yet. I think they're still delayed it from what I've heard. So I don't think they would be likely to check Brenner's hat. But maybe if there was enough noise raised and enough people brought it to people's attentions, like maybe Dylan's mum, maybe they could get it for DNA testing, and then if it turned out to be Dylan's hat, then it would prove that Brenner did play a part in the disappearance. Is there any other additional bits of info along the way? Well, I'll just throw it out there, just a small piece from what I've heard from what certain people have said in the comment section, is that Brenner did or does own property elsewhere. Can't remember exactly where. I don't know if it's within the same state, most likely, but further out. If that's the case, then that's kind of odd, because it's like, well, if he owns property, then why is he squatting in some kind of like RV on Dylan's land? Property sounds better than being in an RV, right? So why not go there? Or is it because Brenner is still working or was still working for Dylan, so he had to live nearby because of the whole journey? It might have taken too long to get from his home, his apartment or whatever, to the farm. Maybe that could be the case, but still, you know, it just seems a bit weird, doesn't it? Now, okay, it's not for definite that that's the case, that he owns property, but that's what some people have said. Maybe it can be clarified at a later point. You can leave a comment down below, let me know what you think, if you know anything about Brenner owning property elsewhere. So yeah. As for any other little bits of info and stuff, I mean, people have been talking about, it's not just Brenner, but some other guys working for Dylan at a point in time, like Don. Don't know who Don is, not seen him before. Has he been questioned? Doesn't look like it. So it'd be interesting to see what Don has to say. Could Don have been working with Brenner? Who knows? But maybe we can save that for a future video. So yes, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.